Welcome back to another Post Media Senators Panel. I'm Bruce Garrioch with Ken Warren of Post Media, and this week we're joined by Nic St-Pierre, the French play-by-play voice of the Ottawa Senators on Unique 94.5 FM. Kenny, let's start with you. The Senators are coming off their ninth straight defeat in Edmonton on Tuesday night as we sit down today. Ken, they didn't get a very good performance from Marcus Högberg. The plan is to go back to Matt Murray in Montreal. One of the areas the Senators hoped that they'd stabilize when they acquired Matt Murray was their goaltending, because they'd had Craig Anderson in net for 10 years. What do they need from their goalies? I know it sounds pretty simple, but
to keep them in games. I mean, let's face it, like I don't know how many people stayed up through the rest to the end of that game, because it's the same old story. You know, you mentioned it, Bruce, Groundhog Day. It is. It's the same old story. They played okay, I think, in the first 10 minutes of that game. They didn't do anything silly. They were in the game. And then, a bad break. Okay, that's happened. That happens sometimes. Second goal, I don't know what Braden Coburn was doing. He's twisted inside like a pretzel. But the third, you're still almost in the game a little bit. It's 2-0. And that third goal, I'm sorry, that's completely inexcusable. And if you're Marcus Högberg in this situation, this thing has been a disaster. Let's face it. We'll get into Matt Murray in a minute. But Marcus Högberg, here is your chance. You know that the number one guy is whatever's going on with Matt Murray. He is struggling and needs some help to get out of it. He's in a deep funk. Marcus Högberg, here's your chance. Their opening is wide open for you to come in here and not even necessarily win, but play sound enough to keep your team in a game, give them some hope. And you let in that goal from Draisaitl from the far side of the faceoff circle, terrible angle, and it's the deflate. It's putting a pin in the balloon again, right? And I'll give the Senators some credit after that. They didn't fade away. They tried to stay in the game, but it's a different game at that point. Edmonton looked a little bit disinterested. Ottawa worked their way back in, but it's the save. I mean, so it's the same story whether it's Matt Murray or Marcus Högberg. What do you do? I don't know what you do. I mean, I guess it's up to Murray Thursday. See if you can make some saves and get
on your knees. Get on your knees. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Well, and Nick, how do you get Matt Murray back to a point where he's reliable?
There's a lot of work. It's like a reconstruction from A to Z with him. Like, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know where to start. Like, I understand all the circumstances that brought him here. I understand, like, he's a new dad. I don't know how the human factor gets in his preparation and maybe shake the whole thing. But, like, at the end of the day, like, yesterday when DJ Smith said it's a day for him to reset and all that, like, we're at not even 10. He didn't even play 10 games. Yeah. Like, what happened between, like, the period where we got him and the period where he has this? Like, we have to find a place where he can actually hook on a good, positive something that he does, and we'll work with that. Like, I hope that from that little thing can grow something bigger and where he can get back to his parameters and the goalie that we're expecting. But at this point, like, the guy is, like, completely demolished. I don't know where to start, and quite frankly, I wouldn't want to be in Pierre Groulx's shoes right now to actually recenter his goalie number one.
Well, and you can talk about goaltending all you want, but and I do think it's their number one issue. Do I think it's their only issue? No, I don't think it is. No. One of the things that we heard, Nick, was that from the coach DJ Smith on Tuesday night was that he needs more from his veteran players. They brought in guys who were role players on other teams. They've been asked to play more of a role, and they've struggled with that.
I don't want to start, like, stirring the pot, but for me, it was kind of a call, and he kind of put his general manager on the spot saying that. That being said, we want to be very careful and not to pinpoint anybody. I do not wish anything bad to anybody. I still think about the human factor, but performance not being there, the coach is asking for something that's not happening. And the evaluation of the players, the veterans that we brought, well, I'm sorry, but, like, we were probably wrong with that. Now, with that perspective, I think the door is wide open to stop playing your veterans, those who are not producing. And let me remind everybody that we've been told that everybody day in, day out would be there on the merit. Well, right now, I'm sorry, the performance is not there. So now bring me fresh legs. Those hungry kids that's been told that you're not good enough to play, but go in the AHL. Well, I'm sorry, but when I see what's happening and you're saying that I'm not good enough, now it's time to actually open the door and let the kids play.
What are your thoughts on that, Kenny?
Couple of quick notes. Dadonov, 1 goal. Paquette got his first last night. Derek Stepan, I know his role is not necessarily to be an offensive leader. He's got 1 goal, a nice pass to Stutzle last night. Great for him. But penalty killing, you know, let's look at Stepan and penalty killing, winning faceoffs, not winning faceoffs. Paquette, again, he scored. Good for him. He's maybe fighting out of a funk, but where's he been in the penalty killing? That's been a big problem. The other not Tuesday night, but Sunday, 4 goals, power play for the Oilers. Paquette and Stepan, that's what they're here for, is it not? To kill penalties?
Yeah.
Defensively, I don't, you know, Eric Branson, Braden Corbin in and out. I mean, these guys are obviously elevated on this team in the role they're supposed to play from where they've been in the past. Maybe they put too much of a burden on them. Is Branson a first pairing, second pairing defenseman anymore? Hey, those guys are trying. Again, I agree with you, Nick. It's the human element, but they're put in spots, you know, on a depth chart that they just can't seem to keep up with. McDavid, when he wants to, is just flying by these guys. Now, they're not the only defensemen that have the problems, but you got to slot this. And I agree with you, Nick. Fresh legs. Let's see what you got from some guys down there. And I don't know, pick who you want, because at this point you got to have some promise here.
Well, and I guess that would lead us to the, you know, look, I don't think that DJ Smith and Pierre Dorion could put 12 youngsters in the lineup every night. And I just don't think.
Bruce, why not? Why not? What could be worse than what we have right now?
Well, I think you're putting people in tough spots, but I do think there will be changes. I think when the club gets back from this trip, we're going to see some switch outs. My anticipation would be that, you know, Eric Brandstrom will get an opportunity, perhaps Alex Formenton, maybe Logan Brown. These guys have been skating in Canada for Belleville. There are no guarantees, by the way, that the Belleville Senators are going to play this season. If you're going to stick these guys in, Nick, what do you want to see?
First, I want to see Brandstrom in and play him on the right side. He's been brought in the NHL playing the right side. Remember when he got introduced, he said, I've been playing on the right side all my life. I've been told that the organization doesn't believe in a defenseman that play on his other side. They want him on the left side. Guys, if he was good to be on the right side, and that's what brought him here, you don't ask a brain surgeon to start operating on a heart. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Like, so right now, put them in their right spot, in their right position, where they got good, and we'll see what happens. And if they fall in the wall, well, okay, we'll try to center him. That's what I want to see. What brought you here? What made you so good? Well, I'm good at center. Okay, we're going to play you on the right side. It doesn't work for me. Like, you're good at center, play him on the top 2 on the center. Logan Brown, I want him on center, on the top 2. Like, Brandstrom, put him on the blue line on the right side, please. And the core, give him a start. Because right now, you have nothing. So let the kids play. Let them play.
What about you, Kenny? Just, I mean, well, Nick makes some good points, and then I want to get to one more thing before we wrap up.
Yeah, well, this is where the hype and the promise and the hope, at some point you've got to say, hey, what do we got? I mean, it's unfair to Brandstrom to always be compared to Mark Stone, but that is the trade. And people are saying, well, what did we get back? And can he play? He wasn't ready last year. He played 20 games and mostly with Ron Hainsey, and that was a bit of a disaster. But okay, they threw him into the fire to see if he could do it. He couldn't. But it's a year later. I mean, what's all this experience playing in Europe? Like, hey, I know he's had the COVID issues and limited practice, but again, they're not doing anything in Belleville right now, like you say, Bruce. Like they're skating in circles. I would like to see Alex Formenton. This team is slow on the depth chart. Like when you go into third, fourth lines, I don't know what Alex Formenton isn't doing in training camp. You got Paquette's, Watson's been okay, but give this guy hits his speed. I mean, the game now is more about speed. This guy can fly. He might make mistakes, but energy. I think they need more energy and some life. And maybe he doesn't play every game, but give him a chance. Schlappick got 8 minutes when he played, or 7 minutes? Give these guys a chance.
And may I add, guys, like without that 90s style of play there, rock him, suck him, that we tried there, and if you want to punch him, we'll be able to punch you back. I'm sorry, it doesn't impress nobody, and it doesn't work in today's NHL. So change the formula, and if you want to change toughness for skill, well, I choose skill over toughness anytime right now.
Well, and one guy's got skill. And before we wrap up here, just real quickly, Nick, just on what you've seen from Tim Stuetzle, because he played his 7th game Tuesday night. He's here for the year. Talk about skill. I mean, here's a guy with some skill.
If there's a shiny light in that fog, it's number 18, Tim Stuetzle. And we got to keep that in mind. What DJ was saying, that this kid's coming from the Dell, trying to work in the NHL, didn't have a training camp, didn't have preparation games and all that, and he's trying to fit in there. Like, I'm sorry, but like he showed us a lot of skills, and tells me that this guy is going to be dominating in the next few years. The moment he gets his strides and he finds the right people to play with, I think this guy is going to be having a lot of highlights during his career. So yes, great pick, and Stutzler is giving us great hope.
Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to hope that we can wrap this up on a positive note then. So for Post Media...
A lot of surgery required, Nick.
That was a great analogy, by the way. For Post Media, I'm Bruce Garrioch with Ken Warren, and we've been pleased to be joined this week by Nic St-Pierre, the French radio play-by-play voice of the Ottawa Senators on Unique 94.5 FM. Join us again next week. Thank you.
Cheers.